Today's daf is Mesechus Nedarim Daf Chaf Beis. So we finished the Gemara before. The Gemara brought four instances, four stories, kind of that people came in front of different chachamim and they would be matter the nether. So the Gemara was bringing four instances where you see four stories where you see that you could be peseach b'charata on a nether. So actually the first two cases were rayas that you could be Pesach b'charata. The later two cases, the last two cases, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yanai, the Gemara was bringing that you see that you cannot be Pesach b'charata from the fact that you see the very last case, the case is Rabbi Yanai, that his grandson came to him, his daughter's son, and she told Rabbi Yanai, if I would have known at the time that I made a neder, that they open up your book in Shamayim and they check you out because you made a neder, they check you out if your actions are good, then what he made neder, so he told him no, and he was materet. So you see from that you're not pasech b'charata because that's more than just charata. So the Gemara said, what's the pasuk? Gemara said you learn out v'achan nedarim levaker. That's where you learn out that they are pasech the pinkus in Shamayim. So now the Gemara is going to go on to say that there are certain Pesachim for Nedarim. You could technically have a Pesach that although they work, but we don't use them. So Zok the Gemara, the Pesach Rabbi Yanai, even though Rabbi Yanai did Lamaisa do it for his anical, we do not open it. We do not make a Pesach for Nedarim like that to be mater Nedarim. Why? Because the guy that made the nether, he's going to hear that, you come to Chacham, and Chacham tells him that it's such a chomer thing to make a nether. They open up your pinkus and shamayim. So really, even if the guy would not be mascharat the nether, he's going to lie and say that he did a charata just because of that. And since Lamaisa Libdamis, he did not have charata, Mela his nether would not be hutar, even though he's saying it, not like that, but he's just lying because he's embarrassed. And also, we're not Pesach also with this Pesach. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, my Pasach le Reb Gamliel ahu Saba. How did Reb Gamliel make a Pesach for this person that came to him to matter the neder? Because he darshan from the Pasuk. The Pasuk says in Mishlei Perek Yud Beis Pasuk Yud Ches, says Yesh boite kemat kerois charev u'l'shoin chachamim marpei. So he darshan kala boite. So we darshan the Pasuk. We say kala boite. Anyone that speaks his lips makes a neder roi l'doikroi b'cherev. He deserves that you should poke him with a sword. Why? Because we're afraid he's not going to become his nether. Ella. So how does someone that makes a nether, how does he fix it? He goes to a chacham, and l'shoin chacham marpei. This chacham will heal him. That'll be how he's going to matter the nether. So the Gemara is saying that also in this Pesach we're afraid that because the noider is scared, because it's so chamer, because we doiker b'charev makes a nether, so he's afraid he's going to lie and just say he's mischaret, and since Alib Damas is not mischaret, so his nether is not hutar. So in this way we also don't make a Pesach, even although it works. And also, so too, we do not make a Pesach in this way also. The Tanya, it says on the Brisa, Reb Nosson says, Hanoider kilu bana bama. Something that makes a neder is considered like he built a bama, which is a mizbeach to makar karbonas to Hashem at a time where it's usher. So it's like he's building a bama. Why? So I see the Rishonim explain here. The Ran explains that what's the comparison from making a neder to a bama? Because somebody makes a neder, thinks that he's doing something good because he's being moisif on isurim that the Torah already gave, and really it's already dailanu with the isurim that the Torah gave us. There's no reason to add on any more isurim. So it's daimah to someone that's builds a bama, that although the Torah did give a commandment to bring karbanis, but the Torah was mazar, you're not allowed to bring kachim b'chutz, only the Beis Hamikdash, and this guy's trying to do more. He's trying to build a bama, bring karbanis. So that's the comparison. So somebody makes a neder kilo bana bama. Makaimai, someone that's mekaim is neder and does not bring it to chacham to matter, then his kilo makar of. It's like he brings a carbon on that bama, so it's even worse. Kilo makar of a carbon. That what? And yichayim mishum shchutei chutz, because you bring kachim chutz le Beis Hamikdash. Zakti Gemara bereisha paschinan. In the reisha, it means you tell the guy if you know, did you know kilo bana bama? So that or pesach, but peseifa, the second thing in the brayso, we tell him kilo makro carbon if he's mekayim it. So Abaye says paschinan, that we do make a pesach on that. Why? Because we're not afraid that he's going to lie if we tell him it's that chamer. Rava Amar le paschinan. Why? Because it's yitachan that he's going to lie and he's going to say that he had charata, even though he did not have charata, because it's so chamer, because it's shchutei chutz. Zok the Gemara weiter. If Kahana masne lo lahashmeiter, if Kahana learns the machlokes of this machlokes we just brought, Abaye and Rava, b'hadin lishna, he learns on machlokes Abaye and Rava in this way, like the Gemara just said. But Rav Tavyumi masni hachi. Rav Tavyumi, however, learns about machlokes Abaye and Rava in a different way. B'seifa loy paschinan. He says that in the seifa, that if you tell the guy that the Gemara said the last thing was that if you tell him it's like he's makav kachim b'chutz, so then loy paschinan, because it's so chamer, and we're afraid the guy's going to be embarrassed to say that he did not have charata, and he really doesn't have charata, he's just lying. So then we do not make a pesach with that. But bereisha, you just tell him that if you noider, it's so chamer like being by nabama. So that's when you have machlokes Abaye and Rava. So just the opposite of what the Gemara says. That's when you have machlokes Abaye and Rava. That Abaye says you do make a pesach. If you tell him noider, it's like you buy a bama. And Rava says you do not make a pesach. Why? Because even this, we're afraid that he's going to be embarrassed, even though it's not as chamer or shchutei chutz, but it's still something maybe he'll be embarrassed of. So the halacha is that we do not make a pesach, and not from the reisha but bama, and not from the seifa that we tell him if you carry the nether you can carbon, and that is like the shita of Rava, and like the Gemara's second lashon, like Rav Tavyumi Masni, that held that either case you do not make a pesach, not the reisha, not the seifa. So we're you also do not make a pesach on a neder. Means even though technically it will work, we do not do it. Like the case of Shmuel, the Amar Shmuel says, Shmuel says that a noider, someone that makes a neder, even if the kaim is neder, and he goes ahead with it, Nikar Rasha. He's considered a Rasha, a wicked person. Zok the Gemara weiter. My Amar Bavo, Micro, what's a pasuk that we say? So what Shmuel means to say is that we do not make a pesach for the guy and tell him, if you would have known, he called a rasha, then you would not made a neder. Why? Because Vaita is chashash. Shmuel saying that Shmuel holds that chashash is afraid he's going to be embarrassed and he's going to lie, and it's really not going to amount to a neder. Zok Amar Bavo, Micro, what's a pasuk that someone becomes a rasha even if he's mekayim the neder, because it says Devar and Perach Chav Gimel pasuk Chav Gimel v'chisechta linder lo yiyeh v'chochet. So The Aleph, tomorrow we learn out from the Lashon Sechtal. We learn out Gezer Shava Chadala that a Rasha is that a Neider is called a Rasha. Why? Because Chsiv Hacha L'Chisechtal Linder. It says over here Lashon L'Chisechtal Linder. Chsiv Hasan by Eve Perak Gimel Pasuk Zayin Sham Rasham Chadlu Roiges. So we see like that, and we see over there, and just like the Lashon of Chadala by Eve, Chadlu is going on Risham, so too Lashon Chadala by Nedarim is going on Risham. That somebody does not hold himself back from making a neder is a Rasha. And what the pasuk means to say that if you keep your neder, if you do hold yourself back from making a neder, then you will not have a chait. But if you go ahead and make a neder, then it's like you sinned. Amar of Yosef, Afanan Amitaninan. We also learned in the Mishnah, Tasam and Alf, Kenidrik Shem Le'amar Klum. If somebody makes an neder, Kenidrik Shem Le'amar Klum. Why? Because if somebody says Kenidrik Shem, it's not as if he said nothing. Why? Because Shem do not make Nedarim. However, Kenidrik Shem, Nadar by Nazar, B'karim B'shvuah, then the neder is chal. Why? Because Risham make Nedarim. So it's before Risham Mishnah, Tasam and Alf, that Risham make Nedarim. Zokti Gemara weiter. Amar of Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amar of Yonasan, Kol HaKoyes, Kol Mini Gehenim Shalten Bay. Famous Chazal, somebody that gets angry, all sorts of punishments of Gehenim take effect on him. Why? Because anger brings to being kaifer be'ikr, and therefore he gets all these einshim. Shenemar v'haser kasmi lebecha v'haver rabba sarecha. It says in pasuk in Kehelas, Parak Yud pasuk Yud, that you should take away the anger from your heart and the badness from yourself. Meaning to say, if you take away kas, all the badness will go away. Ve'ein ra el gehenim. What's ra? Ra is going on gehenim. Shenemar kol pa Hashem l'maneu gan ra shelo yom ra. Meaning to say, you see from the pasuk that the pasuk was referring to the yom ra to a rasha, which is the gehenim. So you see that it's going that a rasha that ra means gehenim. The loyoid, and not only that, ella shatachtonius shaltis by. Sicknesses that someone has, like in his intestines, they get onto their shoylet. They come to a person that has kash. Nemar v'nasan Hashem l'cha sham leiv ragas v'chilin einayim v'davei nefesh. Ezu davar shemachalas einayim. What's something that destroys the eyes of madav v'sanefesh and worries the soul? V'omer elu tachtonius. Why? Because so the Rishonim explain why it's tachtonius, because these types of sicknesses, they drag on a long time, and the person that's not well keeps on hoping that he's going to get healed, and he gets a lot of anxiety because it doesn't get healed. And that only comes because he has a leiv ragas. See in the pasuk, he has a leiv ragas, which is kas, that's anger. Ula b'meiskel ardi Yisrael. Ula, when he went up from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, Slavulei trained b'nei Chazai bahadei. He went, two Yidden escorted him, people from Mechuzah. Two people, b'nei Chazai bahadei, they escorted him. Kam chad, shach telechaver. One of them got up, and he killed his friend, because he got mad at him. Amar lei, so the Reitzech told the Ula, Ya'as avdi. Did I do good? Amar lei, so Ula told him back, yes. And not only that, Ula added on, he told him, Ufrale beis hashchita. expose the area where you cut him, that he should die quickly. After that, when Ula came in front of Rabbi Yochanan, he told him the story, his whole story went on. Amalei, he told Rabbi Yochanan, Dilma chas v'shalom achziki yidei avera. Maybe did I stumble my words? Did I encourage people to do averas? Because he told them that he did well. He told the Ritzach he did good. Amar lei, so Rabbi Yochanan told him, no, you were allowed to say that. Why? Because nafsha chitzalta. Because without that, if you would have not told him that he did the right thing, the Ritzach may have killed you. So it seems like Rabbi Yochanan thought that the story happened when he already reached Eretz Yisrael, and therefore Katama, Rabbi Yochanan, he was wondering on the Maisa, and he asked, Michti ksiv v'nasan Hashem l'cha sham leiv ragas b'bavel ksiv. He was wondering, like, he thought the story happened in Eretz Yisrael, and it says v'nasan Hashem l'cha sham leiv ragas. It says in Bavel. And it says in Bavel they're going to have leiv ragas, kas. But this person that was a Ben Mechuzah, which was in Eretz Yisrael, how did he? How was he so overcome with his anger that he killed his friend? He thought it happened in Eretz Yisrael. Amar le Ahu Shaita. So Ula told him Ahu Shaita at the time that he killed him, Lo Yavrina Yardina. We still did not go over the Yarden, the Jordan River, and since the other side of Yarden did not have Kedusha like Eretz Yisrael, so his kas overcame him, ad kedei kach, that he got so mad and he just killed his friend. So he was basically answering him that it did not happen in Eretz Yisrael. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna, kol hakoyes afilu shchina eina chashuva k'negdei. Anyone that gets mad, even the shchina, he thinks that Hashem is not, there's no Hashem in the world. Shenamar Rasha k'goyva apoi. A Rasha, when his kas overcomes him, he tells himself, Baal Yidrosh, that Hashem is not going to look at his bad actions, and look him call himself. All his thoughts are that Hashem is not in the world, that he's going to take revenge on his bad ways. Rabbi Yuri Mediftia Amar, Mishakech Talmudai Moisa Tipshus. Anyone, someone that gets mad, he forgets his learning and it adds on Tipshus. Shenemar ki kas b'chei k'silim menuach. Kas, somebody that has kas is a ksil, which is, he does not know his what he learned. Uchsev, and it says on somebody that is a koyis, which is called a ksil, it says uchsil yifresh yivelas. A ksil lets everyone know it's tipshus. So you see from that a koyis is a ksil, and he adds on tipshus himself. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, v'yidu Hashem v'noisav merubim zchiyosam. Somebody that gets bekas, you know that his averis are more than his chosim. Shenemar u'balchim arav pasha. You see that somebody that's a Baal Chima, that's a Baal Kas, has mostly Averis. Amar Rab Chanina. Rab Chanina says, Elamali Chatu Yisrael Leinitan Lem Ela Chamisha Chum Shetar. If the Yidden would have not sinned, then they would have only had Chamisha Chum Shetar and Sefer Yeshua Balvad. She'er Shel Eretz Yisrael Hu. Because in there you have the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, but the other Sefer Nevi'im would have not been given to them, because the other Sefer Nevi'im were Musar on the Chatam that the Yidden did. Zot Gemara, my timer. How do we know this? It says in Pasuk Keheles Parak Aleph, Pasuk Yiches, Ki b'roiv chachma roiv kas. Roiv chachma comes roiv kas, meaning that with the more of the chachmas of the Nevi'im, it's a simin that there was more kas, that the Yidden angered Hashem with their sins, and that's why they needed the other Nevi'im. However, if they would have not sinned, Like Rabbi Chanina says, they would have only had Chamisha Chumsha Torah, and say for Yeshua, that would have been the only thing needed. Now the Gemara goes back to the Inyan of Ataras and Nedarim and Shuas. Amar Rabasi, Ein Eskakin Lelikei Yisrael. We do not care for to matter a shvua that was said in the name of Lekei Yisrael and Hashem Hashem. Chutz Mekayim Ishti Nanesli. Besides, if somebody says Kainim Ishti Nanesli, I'm asking my wife to have enough from me, Sheganves Kisi, because she stole my wall, Shehikses Bini, and she hit my son. V'noida Shaloi Gam, and you find out afterwards she did not steal, V'Shaloi Yikatu, and she did not hit his son. In that case, we're matir a shvua b'shem Hashem. Why? Al shalom bayis. Amazing. Adds on in Gilyonei Hashas that because you see that even a name that was written by Kedusha, the Torah says erase it in order to make shalom ben ishli ishtoi by the parsha saita. So it's a kal v'chomer if somebody swears in the name of Hashem that Al Shalom Bayis will take it away and we'll be able to matter it. Okay. Zakti Gemara. Hida Asai, a woman came to Rabasi to matter a shvur. Amar lo Rabasi told her, "My nedart, with which lashon did you make a nedarim?" So she answered him, "Belikei Yisrael, I swore in the name of Hashem." Amar lo Rabasi told her, "Ina dart." B'moihi sheikinu ba'alma. If you would have made a neder b'moihi, which is stam a regular kinu for a shur without the Shem Hashem, mizdakikin alach. I would have been matter the neder. But hashal nedart b'moihi al b'lekei Yisrael mizdakikin alach. But now that you swore in the name of Hashem, I'm not going to be matter for you because you swore in the name of Hashem. I can't just take that away. So you see, usually you're not matter b'Shem Hashem. However, the Gemara before was for Shalom Bayis. Rav Kahana Ikla Lebeir of Yosef. Rav Kahana found himself bumped into the Homer of Yosef. Amar Leir, Yosef told him, Litei Mar Midi, why don't you eat something? Amar Leir, Rav Kahana told him, Lo Yetam, I'm not going to take anything. And then he, not only that, he said, Marei Kula Lo Te'im Lei. He made a shvua in the name of Hashem, or master is going on Hashem. He said, I make a sure that I'm not going to taste anything. Amar Leir, if Yosef told him, Leimar Kula Lo Te'imat Lei, that he answered him back, he said, yeah, but then I call that I don't want you, I'm making a shvua that you should not eat by me. He answered him back with a shvua in the name of Adanakol. So Zaktimar Hanich Rav Kahana Damaloi Merkula, very good that Rav Kahana said Laimar Kula. It's understood why Rav Kahana made a shvur that he's not going to eat in the name in by saying Marei Kula. Why? Because he did not want Rav Yosef to keep on trying to convince him to eat. Rav Yosef, why would Yosef answer back and make his own neder the same thing? Why did he do it? Why did Yosef have to do that? So what went on was shouted like this. Rav Yosef told Rav Kahana, he was like, not that he meant to make a neder, you're not going to eat by me. What he was saying was, b'derech tamiyah. He was saying, Did you make a shvur in the name of Hashem? And therefore he said, Hilka achlaiti imasle. Therefore, because you made a shvur by saying Marei Kula in the name of Hashem, so therefore you're not going to end up eating by me because you cannot be matter such a neder. And it's exactly what Ravasi said before. Ravasi said he did not want to be matter and neder because it was neder b'shem Hashem. Zok the Gemara Vaita. Amar Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says, Hilchos ha'poisach parata. Allah is a poisach neder becharata. V'neskakin lelikei Yisrael. And you could be mater a neder even in the name of Hashem, not like Rav Asi. It says you're not mater a shvur Hashem. Okay, well, Zok the Gemara weiter. Mishtamach le Rav or Rav Nachman b'Rav Schera. The Gemara now is going to bring a Maisa that you could learn out from it, a Pesach to a Mater Nedarim. Mishtamach le Rav or Rav Nachman b'Rav Schera. Rava praised Rav Nachman in front of Rav Nachman. He praised Rav Schera, the Adam Gadol. He said he's the Adam Gadol. Amar Loi. So Rav Nachman told Rava, Kishayavai, when Rav Schera comes, liyadcha, haviyeu liyadi. When he comes to you, to your hand, bring him to me. Havalei nidra lemishra. Rav Schera had a neder that he wanted to matter. Also lakamei Rav Nachman. So he came in front of Rav Nachman. And Rav Nachman was looking for a Pesach for his neder. Amalei, Rav Nachman told Rav Schera, did he make the neder al das this? He was trying to find the Pesach. Amalei, Rav Schera told him, in. Yes, I did make the neder al das this. So he said, Adait dahachi, what about al das this other thing? So he answered him, in. And Kamazim, and this went on a bunch of times. He kept on asking, did you make a neder al das this? And he kept on saying yes. And therefore, Ikbid of Rav Nachman had a kapeda on Rav Schera that he made such a strong neder that he couldn't even find the Pesach for it. So Amar Lei Zilla Kilach. Rav Nachman told Rav Schera, go to the entrance of your house. Nafak, Rav Schera went out. Upasach Pischal Nafshe. And he found a Pesach for himself. Why? Because he said, the Mishnah says in Avos, Parak Beis Mishnah Av, Rebbe Omer, Ezu Yidarach Yashar Sheyavar Leya Adam, what is a straight path that a person should choose for himself? Kol Shehi Teferes is something that Mitzat Atzma is something that's Teferes for people to go in it. It's a nice way. It's Teferes Leimena Adam. And also other people look at it and say it's a nice thing to do. V'hasha the Ikbeder of Nachman, and now that Rav Nachman is makman on me because he was getting upset at him that he was having kapedas him that he made shtar and that he couldn't find the Pesach, he's saying, okay, so that's not the Teferes Leimena Adam. So therefore, that's that he was matter the neder v'shar l'nafshei, and Rav Schera was matter the neder for himself al yidei chacham. But he was not, the Rishonim say that, however, Lamaisa, he was not mater for himself, Lamaisa. He needed Rav Nachman to do it, like the Gemara says later on, Pial from the Bay, is that even Talmud Chacham was not allowed to be mater Nidra Atzmai. So he just found the Pesach and he told Rav Nachman about it, and Rav Nachman said, okay, cool, it's a good Pesach. Zok the Gemara weiter. Reb Shimon Rebbe Havalei Nidra Lemishra. Reb Shimon Rebbe had a neder to be mater. Asla Kamayu D'Rabbanan. He came in front of the Chacham. Reb Shimon Rebbe came in front of the Chacham. Amar Lei, the Chacham asked him, Adait Dahachi, Amar in. He said, yes, Adait Dahachi, in. Kama Zimni. He said, also again, a lot of times, the same thing, yes. Amitzayr Rabbanan. Rabbanan had tsar because they could not find the Pesach. And Mishimsha Latula, Matula Shimsha. Because they had so much tsar, they were pacing back and forth. They were going from the shade to the sun, and from the sun to the shade. They were walking back and forth, pacing back and forth. They didn't know what to do. Amarle Botnis Bray, da Abishol ben Botnis, the son of Abishol ben Botnis, told Reb Shimon Rebbe, Minudar Tadaitim Tzara Rabbana, did you have in mind to make a neder adas? The Rabbana are going to have some tzara and have to pace Mitula Shimsha, Shimsha Utula, and have to pace back and forth in the sun and the shade. Amar Loi Vishar Yuhai. He said no, and they were matir neder al das this Pesach. So you see another case where a chacham cannot find a Pesach, and the neder found the Pesach, and the chacham was matir based on that Pesach.